Today's video is brought to you by PCBWay, where not only can you get custom PCBs made, but also CNC machine parts, sheet metal fabrication, and a whole lot more to meet your maker needs. Check out the link down in the description. Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Patrick with Stacking Layers. Today I'm going to be doing a follow-up on the H2 V2X Extruder. So if you didn't see my previous video, I'll put a link somewhere up in the description here, or sorry, up in the corners or something like that, a little pop-up you can check out. And that will allow you to check out the construction of this. But this is the H2 V2X. This is BQ's new addition to the H2 lineup. And what's unique about this one is that it is an extruder only. That's right. Up until this point, the H2 series has been an extruder and hot end combination. So there was always some sort of hot end coupled to the H2 that you were more or less stuck with in that choice. So you couldn't change out things. Well, now they've upped the game and they allow for a new construction that underneath you can couple up any hot end that you please. So this is really designed to make a custom, like the Stealthburner, a custom print head with your own hot ends that you want. So it's really nice because of the fact that you don't have to worry about any type of heat creep issues or anything like that that come up into this body. Previously, this was the heat sink also, but because there is a separation between hot end and extruder, now you don't need to worry about that type of issue. So this is, in my opinion, a really nice addition to the family because this opens up a whole new world with this extruder to be able to make full-on custom print heads to still utilize the power that this little guy offers. It's a really nice setup because the fact that it has a 7:1 gear ratio and an all aluminum, all metal system. So it's a very strong and light system. It only weighs, what was it, about 140 something grams, 142 grams for this whole extruder system, which is light. It's actually lighter than the Clockwork 2 that I had in here. It's can't remember the exact difference, but I think it was like something like 12, 13 grams lighter. So there's that. It is a lighter system. A lot of people think when they see these in the pictures, they think they're big, bulky extruders because of the fact that it's a square motor in the back. But this is a NEMA 14. It's not a NEMA 17. So it is a very compact extruder system. And being compact in aluminum and some stainless gears and things like that, it is a relatively light system for what it is. So you're not gaining weight when you do this route. You're actually losing a little bit of weight. The weight lost, I'll put a little quick side-by-side comparison of the weight from the original hot end to this one. And this one is lighter. That's with all of the, basically everything that was already pre-installed on the previous hot end, minus the cord, of course, minus the Bowden. And, but all the electronics, everything was in there. This one not only has the new extruder and a slightly larger hot end, although I think the hot end is a couple grams lighter than the Dragon. This is the Fadus Rapido 2 that's on here. I believe that's like 3 grams lighter than the Dragon hot end that was on the other one. So there's that. But this also has the Knomi 2 screen on it, so that actually would add a little bit more weight too, right? And with all of this in that, this is still coming in slightly lighter. Is it light enough to make a dramatic difference? No, it's really negligible. But I wanted to point that out because you're not gaining any type of weight compared to the other systems. Also, yes, I will completely recognize and understand that there are other systems out there that are lighter than this. The Stealthburner isn't the lightest in the run-up, but I just want to stick with this design for now. But so if you go with Stealthburner, you're not going to be gaining any weight going to an H2. So that's that. Things I need to point out when it comes to wiring. First off, you'll notice that I have wiring on the outside. I got this cover missing. That's just me being lazy. And I'll point out a little bit more about the cover missing in a minute. But the wires here, these are from my cartographer, the eddy current sensing probe that I have inside here. And I have the X end stop wires. That's just me being lazy. I forgot to put them through and I didn't want to take everything off again to reroute. But there is space underneath for it to go underneath here and come up. So they're nicely hidden. Don't think that that's how you have to have that. That's just my laziness. The wiring is really simple, straightforward. There's plenty of room. There's a space between here, the hot end and the front plate. Plenty of space to route wires this direction. And also underneath, the way that the mount and stuff holds things together, there's a decent amount of space underneath so you can route things. And come up with this weird angle here so you can see they don't stick out too far, but let's move around. But as you can see, I also have the wires well pressed up against the controller board. And basically the reason why I'm having to do that is because before I had a nice radius and it was well zip tight and all that together and it looked really good, but I quickly realized it was, let's get this weird angle again, it was sticking too far out past this zone, and you don't want to go much further than a couple millimeters past the zone, because if you do, let's do another flip. If you do, what will happen is when you home, if you home Y first for some reason, then the wires can be sticking out to where it'll hit the chain or hit this area here, and obviously you don't want that to be happening. So home your X before Y, which is pretty common anyways, but yeah, there's that. So you want to keep your wiring, to the flip, you want to keep your wiring nice and tucked as tight as possible there. There's another angle for wiring. One more thing, because I'm using that Rapido 2 hot end, it comes pre-crimped with some connectors. As you can see, there's a black connector in there. There is enough room for them to fit underneath this cover, but it is pretty tight. They're not bound. They're not being squished or anything like that. I can move them around. So there's that. But you know, if you, depending on, I'm not 100% solid if I want to use this as a daily driver or what. I like to change things out so often. So I left the connectors on to make it easier. That's why they are. But you may, you know, if you decide this is going to be your permanent setups, then you can maybe crimp some better wires or something, so there's no big connectors there. So there's that. Otherwise, they work well. Everything fits well. I did cut down the existing cable that came with the H2 because it was like 1.5 meters. So now it's just a tiny little piece. Obviously, you don't need a big old thing. You want to keep your wires as short as you can. So all the wiring was really easy to do. Now, when it comes to this cover, it does, the model, if you follow my previous video, you'll see that it does have this nice side cover with this little sliding doohickey for it to connect to this. And as you can see, it's probably a good thing to have, because this thing, when it's engaged, it has a slight slack zone, so it's not coming in contact with anything anymore because it's not holding it open. And obviously you can see it wiggles and stuff. So I haven't really noticed anything. I had this on and off, and it didn't seem to change anything with input shaping, so I just leave it off. But the main reason why I have it off is because I found I use the thumb screw or the thumb gear on here a lot more than I have ever used on any of my other H2 hot end systems. Because what happened with this one is that I was putting the filament through. Normally I just open it up and push the filament through. Well, there was a little bit of extra filament that, you know, was being stubborn and didn't want to push all the way through, so I pushed a little bit harder, and it caused my x-axis to slant at an odd angle, and I forgot to lift it back up. And when I went to home, I gouged my bed. So I have a gouge in my bed from the screws that are holding in the cartographer. So that's why I use that. Otherwise, the cover works just fine. So that's the only thing there. So really, when it comes to setup and construction and fit and finish, it's straightforward. It's easy. Wiring is identical regardless of what the boards are. You have your motors, your fans, your hot end, your heater, and your thermistor, right? So I'm pretty straightforward. The cable that I went with, I showed in my previous video that I actually made my own custom cable, but I got lazy again, and I didn't really feel like taking the machine down and rewiring everything underneath or moving things. Although I will be doing it. I want to put the cable to come up from the vent up there instead of down where it is right now. But what I did is I ended up just cutting the existing connector that I had on the SB2209. I have more of those, so it's fine for me. If you don't have that option, it's probably not a good idea, but you can get these cables, you know, fairly easy. But I found when I cut that I was actually pleased to find that the wires inside were actually better than I had expected. They are fine strand wires, and you do have the different gauges for power and for CAN bus, which you probably already know because the other side is exposed. But the thin wires on there are really good, because a lot of fine strands, that gives you better motion tolerance. Basically, it's able to tolerate a lot more motion than the wires that I had made my custom cable with. There was less cores, so over time, less cores means that it's easier to break the wires inside, so you get disconnection issues. So that was a benefit. I used that, and like I said, it was simple. I already have the piano wire or whatever that is that's inside to hold the wire up, so I just went with that route for now. But yeah, so installation, everything is really simple. So I'm sure you probably want to know, okay, that's great, but what kind of differences do we get in printing? Because that's really what we're interested about, right? If it looks good, it doesn't really matter if it prints like crap, right? So let's go over to the desk, and I will show you a couple of the tests that I did and show you the results. While I get over there, why don't you go ahead and give today's sponsor, PCBWay, a quick checkout, and we'll be right back. If you're someone who loves tinkering, designing, and creating, you'll definitely want to check out PCBWay. PCBWay isn't just about PCB manufacturing. They've got a wide range of services to cater to creators just like you. From crafting intricate prototypes using many forms of 3D printing to precision machine parts through CNC machining and so much more, PCBWay has got you covered. A really nice part is their online quoting system. It lets you see the cost estimates for the services you need, allowing you to plan your projects without any surprises. As for quality, PCBWay takes it seriously across all their services and do their best to ensure all your designs will meet the highest standards. Beyond services, PCBWay offers a supportive community. Their forums and dedicated support team are there to help you to navigate through your creative journey. If you're intrigued and want to know more about PCBWay services and how it can benefit your projects, check out the link in the description. I want to give a big thanks to PCBWay for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back to the video. Okay, and we're back. So we have these high flow rate or max flow rate tests. These are the ones that are in Orca Slicer, but they're also pretty standard one used all over the place. If you're not sure what it is, basically it goes through these loops back and forth, and it's designed to increment every so often to a higher flow rate, which basically you get a higher speed, higher flow rate. They go hand in hand. So I started at a max flow rate of 20 millimeters cubic per second down at the bottom and goes up to 50 at the top. That's where it ends. Obviously, you can see it looks like crap once you get to a certain point, but that is by design to figure out what your nozzle can truly handle, your whole hot end system can handle. So this is with the original setup. Sorry, no, this is with the new setup, and this is with the original. And right away, you might think, okay, well, wait a minute. The original looks like it did better than the new setup. Well, yes, at first glance, but then when you start getting closer, you will see things like these little artifacts here. So this is where it started to fail. So if you see, there's that little blip there, and then you go through, there's another one there, and all these little areas where it failed is basically saying that the extruder just can't handle pushing the material through anymore. The hot end and extruder combination that's its maximum extrusion. And that was at about 14.5 or 14.25 millimeters up from the bottom. So we do the math, and that relates to, according to what my machine was doing at that moment in the slicer, it was about 144 millimeters per second speed, and then approximately 25 millimeters cubics per second on the max flow rate. So that was where they're one layer below the failure point is where that was. Okay. So pretty decent. I mean, it's not terrible. 24 is, 25 millimeters per second, or 45 millimeters cubed for max flow rate is pretty decent for a standard hot end. If you're looking at other standard Bowden style or whatever, you're looking at maybe 10 to 12 or something like that. So it's already good with the way that's set up, and we know that they print well. And then you get into this, and like I said, you may be thinking that the failure rate, it looks like this did a lot better. Well, when you start getting closer again, you start realizing everything was good up until this point here. And that's where it started actually getting those blips there. Those are from skipped steps. That's where the pressure of the extruder could not withstand, or so the ability of the extruder could not overcome the pressure that was being built up from the material not melting fast enough through your extruder, more or less. So I mean, what happens is the steps, because your motors are not mechanically coupled, they're magnetic, so they can actually be forced to skip backwards one or jump a step, and that's what these little things are. It's just basically not extruding, and then it has to catch up. And so that's what that is. So again, about a layer below that failure point was going at about 172 millimeters per second square, or sorry, millimeters per second, and got approximately 30 millimeters cubics per second for flow rate. Better, definitely better. Surprisingly, not as big of a difference as I had expected. I do need to point out, of course, I fully understand that the differences that we got here could have nothing to do with the extruder itself. It could also be a main factor that these are two different hot ends. This is the Dragon hot end, and this is the Rapido 2. It's not the ultra high flow one, it's the standard one, but it's still considered a higher flow hot end as it stands. Now the nozzle is the same. I swapped the nozzle from here to here, so it's the exact same 0.4 brass nozzle, so no difference there. But the differences are, of course, that this hot end is designed for a better flow than the previous one. So there is that. I do want to fully acknowledge that, of course, maybe just swapping the hot end alone can get you the same results. But I didn't do those type of tests. I just did a full-on 100% swap with hot end and extruder. So that is what it is. I just want to point out, I do understand that maybe that this result is solely based on the hot end. So there's that. We did get a slight speed increase and max flow rate increase. Now, that out of the way, you know, yes, we got a difference, but it's not a huge difference. I went ahead and did something even more. I got one of those cheap knockoffs CHT nozzles, and with the same extruder, the H2 V2X and the Rapido 2, I completed a test. Now, of course, this looks terrible right now. But what happened was the print actually started releasing from the bed, so it started curling upward, and you can see, you know, it's all weird and skewed and bowed and stuff. So that's why it looks really bad. The material was not in the proper spot anymore, but it completed. There's no skip steps. I can't find a single skip step through here. We got all this weird wobbly stuff, but that's because the material is starting to lift and pushing into it. So it was actually causing, obviously, it's going to cause issues, and the material, the print itself was moving around while it was being printed on. So that's what that is. But there's no skip steps. So with the CHT nozzle, that's day and night comparison. So maybe this is kind of a side shoot on, should you change extruders and hot ends, or should you just change your nozzle? Right now, these two is the exact same file, the same material, the same temperatures. The only difference is changing the nozzle from a standard 0.4 nozzle brass to a 0.4 nozzle with the CHT clone stuff. That's the ones that have like it splits it into 3 parts inside. That I say is a massive difference, obviously. So that's probably, you know, unfortunate for I guess BQ or any of the extruder manufacturers that to see that just a nozzle change can have such a dramatic change. That blew my mind. So that's really what I think probably you want to do your first try with before going to a hot end and extruder change, and see what you can do with a nozzle. That, I mean, man, what do you guys think? You know, should I have just completely scrapped the whole idea of a hot end and nozzle change and just went, or sorry, a hot end and extruder change, just went the nozzle? It seems so, right? Anyways, that's that. But with that being said, could I recommend the H2 since we're talking about this one as a review? Can I recommend it? Well, yeah, it's good. It does its job. It works exactly as described. It's super easy to install. It's really versatile, but are you going to get dramatic gains? It's you know, it depends. It really depends on what it is, you know. Maybe in the future I will check out to see. I really don't want to put that hot end back on. But maybe I'll do it and see if I gain some better results with the exact same. So it's a pure extruder only change. But after with that CHT nozzle knockoff fake CHT nozzle change, man, that seems to be the more affordable, easier way to go. But I'm not going to say anything that you shouldn't get this. Now, I guess you probably want to know about the clicking. People always ask. Yes, it still does it. So there is that. It does click, and I have reached out to BQ, and they have responded with saying that basically they're not going to they're not going to press fit the bearings, and that's what's causing these things. The bearings are not press fit inside of the gear case. And the reason why they're not doing that is because they want to make it easy to service. If they press fit the bearings, it can make it to where it is permanent. And if you try to remove bearings, you'll destroy the casing, which destroys the whole extruder, obviously. My opinion is do it. Don't worry about that, right? You know, you can make it to where only the one side of the bearings are press fit inside the casing and not on the gears themselves. So the gears are still able to do it. There'll be still a slight amount of backlash due to that, but less. But doing that will increase, I mean, if anything, it'll increase user experience. It'll give a better user experience because you don't hear the clicking as much. But, you know, really, if you're worried about things getting destroyed, just offer the case as a separate purchase. Simple, right? What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments what you think about that type of an idea. And then what you guys think in general. What do you guys think about all the results here? Is this something that you feel would be worth it? Was it a waste? Let me know. I want to give a quick thank you to PCBWay, of course, for sponsoring the channel, but I want to give a massive thank you to all of my new subscribers. I see you guys coming in. Thank you for that. That really gives me confidence that my videos are being helpful and informational. So hopefully that is why you guys are subscribing. Thank you guys for coming in. A huge thank you for all of my longtime subscribers. I'm so happy that you guys are hanging on here. I never thought this channel would get to where it is. I just wanted to make videos to help out people. So obviously that's working. So let me know also down in the comments what kind of other content you're looking to see. I have links in the description that are affiliates to Big Tree Tech and BQ stuff. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but if you use links, like for instance, you want to buy one of these, it gives me a little kickback to help the channel grow. And like I said, it costs you nothing. It's just, it helps me out. So that would be appreciated, but not required. Otherwise, yeah, give those likes, subscribes, good, all that good, you know, algorithm stuff, blah, blah, blah. My main thing is that you guys are here and getting some sort of benefit. I'm more interested in the engagement. So leave comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. Also, anybody that sees somebody else with a question and feels that they can help and I haven't responded yet, or maybe I haven't responded enough, then go ahead and jump on in. Let's get this conversation stuff going also. I want to try to build a community. Discord stuff I don't have going yet. I am on Discord, so if you find me on there, I don't mind if you send me a message if you have a question. My response on things may be delayed. It depends on how I've been notified and what kind of time, free time I have to do it, but I will help out where I can. So I wanted to point that out too. I don't have a Discord server yet. I don't have the time and energy to put into maintaining that yet, and that's why. So in the future, maybe I can get something going on just so everybody can get together. It's an easier place, I know, for sharing like photos and stuff for help and how-to stuff. So there's that too. So that's a future idea, but I did want to point that out since some people have asked. So that's that. Anyways, that's enough of the video. I think I can get this cut short and keep it under half an hour. So that'll be nice. So there's that. Yeah, I will work on trying to get those videos more and direct to the point too. So don't worry. I'm working on it. I'm listening. I'm reading your comments. So keep them coming. Anyways, enough of that. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this. Let me know. And until next time, get out there and go make something. Thank you for watching.